we got mods. Obviously, I've already opened this one, but just for the sake of the video, we will reenact. In fact, I'll start by opening the one that's already open. Now, you may be thinking, why did I get another intake when I already have one on the car? Now, besides the one that I have on there being cosmetically pleasing, very simplified, it just looks nice in the engine bay, that is a cold air intake. This is a ram air intake. Now, the difference between these two intake systems is that the cold air intake is a cold air intake. It is designed to bring cooler air into your engine. That's why it goes and extends all the way down in the fender well, so you can get that nice cold air that the car is bringing in through that hole next to the fog light. Now, the problem with that is that that tube is so long and that mass airflow sensor is right there by the filter that I don't really know the technical part of it, but I know that it kind of confuses the mass airflow sensor since it takes so long to push that air through that tube into the engine. Even though you're getting all that cold air, the mass airflow sensor, from what I've read or from what I've been told long ago, is that it kind of tricks it a little bit. Now this, on the other hand, is different. It's more OEM style, shorter tubing, which will allow the air to get from the filter into the tube into the engine a lot faster. Now, the only downfall is that it is in the engine bay, so you're going to draw in a lot of hot air. But I believe that's what this is for, to try and help combat that heat going into the, But I also have another idea. So that is the purpose and why I'm switching from the cold air intake to the ram air intake system, is to move more air. Now, like I said, you are bringing in hot air into the engine at idle especially, but not a drastic difference to where you're gonna lose like an insane amount of horsepower. I've read also that switching from the cold air to this one, people have gained actually 8 more horsepower. So I'm gonna be installing this today and doing a little bit of a customization to help combat that hot air. We're gonna put that down very nice. On to the next package. Now this is a valve cover breather. So as you start to modify your car, you start to create a lot more crank pressure. So this is a direct replacement for your oil cap. This has a check valve in it. So it's only going to release that pressure after a certain amount of pressure. This prevents, from you spilling oil everywhere. When you start to modify your car, you create a lot more pressure than what it came with stock. This is going to help relieve all that pressure, especially with the check valve. And if I say so myself, it looks really good. This is one of those mods that is all about efficiency. This is going to keep it nice and healthy. It's going to release all that pressure. That way, you don't blow up seals, a lot of gaskets, whatever it may be. Efficiency. Now, on to the next. Now this one I haven't opened. This is a JLT 3.0 oil separator, also known as a catch can. Now this is a passenger side specific catch can. This is, again, one of those things where it's releasing all that pressure, and when it's releasing all that pressure on the passenger side, from what I understand, is that it releases it back in through the intake tube back into the engine. So when it's releasing that pressure, oil comes out of that. This is designed to catch all that oil. You got an inlet and an outlet, and I believe it catches it all in here. Through a series of months or weeks or whatever, it catches it in here. And this is the filter. I'm really loving the black finish, the JLT, of course, on top. And it comes with a custom bracket. So it's just not dangling all over your engine bay and just hanging on by some tubing. This is the current setup. As you can see, this is the old cold air intake that I was talking about. No catch can, I believe it goes somewhere around here. And of course, no breather. So let's go ahead and get this stuff installed, starting with the more complicated install. Okay. We're gonna clean it with don't point that at your eyes. While that dries, I'm gonna go ahead and put the oil catch can, while we have all this room, and run to the store and get what I need to take this off. Let me just go ahead and do it on my trash can. So for me, it's gonna be a bit snug once I put the oil catch can right here, because since I got the thicker radiator, it pushed this hose back, which might not, it's not going to be a problem, but it might be a little bit more difficult to get it on there. More difficult when you're doing it solo, but we wouldn't be solo driven if we couldn't. I got a little sidetracked, that's why it's evening now, but we ran into a problem. So in the instructions, it's saying to use the stock mass airflow adapter, which I don't have. I'm gonna have to look to see if I can find a used one, but luckily for y'all, it's gonna be a matter of seconds. So here we have the ABS heat shield that I wrapped in gold once again. And this is to, I wish that I could show the proof, but I don't have anything. I don't have a gauge that measures the air temperature. This is an attempt to deflect that hot air to get keep these intake air temperatures cooler than what it would typically be with it just being wrapped in the black, or just the black plastic. I have a different type of respect for people who do wrap, because this did not come out perfect whatsoever, especially in the corners. As you can see there, I mean, it came out all right. Like I said, I'm not a professional rapper or anything, but yeah, this has more of a greater purpose, or at least I hope. I removed the intake system once again, and that's because some of the clamps that I put on last night were kind of crooked and it was bothering me. And I also didn't like the fact that the whole intake system was black and this was yeah, like a aluminum finish or whatever. So I'm gonna paint this to get it matching, and we'll take it from there. Now, I found it a lot easier to put this rubber coupler, whatever deal, on first, and then put the intake on, because these clamps are not designed to be in an oval shape. They're more of a circular shape, and it's just more easier to navigate and move these where you want them to and get a nice little clamp going if you put this on first. Now what you want to do beforehand is put the filter on, put the tubing on here, have this as a solid piece, that way you can kind of mess around and fit it in here and get it onto these clamps. Alright, so now that we have this assembled, we're going to put the filter end in first and fit it in perfect. Man, that went in like a charm. We're going to go ahead and clamp this down. You have to go like this. Go like that. Take it out. Put it back in there. Turn it. Look at this. Has to be. You have to look at what you're doing. Look. Has to go like this. Look. See that?
So you turn it that way, right?
Yeah. To the left. Thank you. Perfect. Alright, now we got the intake put on again, the spray painted aluminum finish deal. There was the mass airflow adapter, and we have the gold tape ABS heat shield or whatever it is. This is going to combat some of that engine heat, so we can try and get colder temperatures into the intake. Alright, everything's on, everything's functioning. Remember guys, this is to combat some of that heat coming from the engine, so we can get colder air into the intake system, into the engine. I don't really have any way of scientifically proving that, because I don't have any gauges, but if anyone out there with a Cobra wants to try and prove this, feel free to do so. Let me know how it goes. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's worth a try. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that. As far as the mods go, like I said, this is one of those things where I'm trying to make the engine as efficient and healthy as possible in the long run. So with the intake, I did notice a slight difference in the throttle response. Maybe some low end power, 8 to 10 horsepower. You're not really going to notice that difference in a car with like that much torque, at least in my opinion. But like I said, I noticed a slight throttle difference. Also, another big pro with the ram air intake is that when you have the cold air intake, is you have that long tube and it goes into the fender well. You only have so much space and so much room to mess with as far as adding that filter. So the filter that I had on there before was so much smaller than the one that I have on there now that came with the ram air intake. So that's one thing that I really liked, and that's one thing that you should consider when choosing your intake setup. But that concludes today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this, more mods coming up. But for now, this is Solo signing off.